Well, guys, listen, most of you know that I've been paddling BONAFIDE since before BONAFIDE was even BONAFIDE, back when the company didn't even have a name. So my DNA is in this brand. I've been there watching it grow up, kind of like watching it go from a baby in the crib to a baby that's crawling, to a shaky legs toddler, to now that adolescent, right, that's really coming into its own. And so the biggest question that I've had since I started paddling BONAFIDEs is, dude, when is BONAFIDE gonna come out with a pedal drive? Well, the answer to that question is now. The new BONAFIDE P127, the P stands for pedal, but it also stands for power and paddle, because the boat, not only does it pedal well, but it also powers well because it's got a really great hull that actually does well under power, and it paddles well. One of the things that I've really needed to get into the pedal drive game, I've pedaled boats in the past and they just didn't really fit my style of fishing, because when I wasn't pedaling, they didn't paddle that well, okay? And as a guy that likes to primarily paddle, I wanted a boat that paddles well, that, you know, isn't so heavy you have to have a crane to get it in and out of the water, and it's really well laid out. So let's talk about the BONAFIDE P127, and I'm just gonna give you a full walkthrough bow to stern, guys. So look, right out of the gate, you're going to notice something that's a little bit different, and that is the power pole mount that we have on the front. Now, this power pole footprint also lends itself to doing a bow mounted trolling motor. So this boat is ready to go for a power pole on the front or a bow mounted trolling motor. And you might say to yourself, why in the heck would you want a power pole on the front of the boat? Well, if you're fishing in a river and you go down around it and you've got a river shorty pole like I do, you can sneak up behind the eddy, drop that power pole down, and hold yourself right in position. If you're flats fishing and you're fishing into the wind, chasing tailing reds, if you put your power pole down in the back, your boat spins or weather vanes downwind, and so it makes it difficult. If you get upwind of the fish, you're not making a natural presentation. So to me, it was just natural to integrate the power pole mount into the front of the boat. For you guys out there that have always wanted two power poles, well, now your dream has come true, because you can put one on the front and one on the back, and they're far enough apart that when you put one down and you put the other one down, they're going to keep the boat from turning. Power pole on the front, anchor wizard off the back are, again, two power poles. You can really customize this boat. Now, one of the questions that I had along the way is, why doesn't BONAFIDE just make a pedal drive that drops into the SS127? You know, BONAFIDE was founded on that SS platform. SS127 is a really popular boat, but the problem is you have to have the ability for the pedal drive to attach to the boat. You have to have a little bit different seating configuration so that you can change the geometry from the seat to the pedals. And you have to have the ability to integrate a rudder system into the hull. So for all the folks out there that wonder, why didn't they just drop a pedal drive into the existing boat? Those are a lot of the reasons why it doesn't work. Plus, you need a hull to perform a little bit different. If it's a pedal drive style kayak, you need to move your center of gravity forward a little bit. I'm not gonna give you a hydrodynamics or aerodynamics lesson, but basically you have to redesign the whole boat, especially to integrate the rudder. You can't just, you know, slap a rudder system for a pedal drive boat into an existing platform. So the double header latches, where you can open the hatch from both directions, carried over from the SS127 series. You got these really cool hoods for sticking your rod tips in, you know, and for a long time, I didn't really think those things were necessary, but in a paddle kayak, I usually have them in between my legs, and so those tips are protected. When you go to a pedal drive style boat where you're gonna have your rod staged outside of center because you want it to be out of the arc of the pedal swing, you definitely want something to protect those rod tips so that you're not, you know, pedaling along, not paying attention, catch one on a tree, you know, and break your favorite rod. So again, those rod tip protectors are really cool. This hatch had to be completely redesigned. It's actually a little more rigid than the SS127, but still serves that cool purpose of opening it from the front to get stuff inside the hull, open it from the back if you need to get access to something while you're inside. One side benefit to the reinforcement for where the pedal drive attaches is there's a nice landing area inside for you to mount your battery on to keep it up out of the bottom of the boat. So that's a really cool feature. You're going to recognize this pedal drive as the Propel pedal drive. That's basically just a carryover from the native brand. For most folks that don't know, Big Adventures
acquired BONAFIDE Kayaks, and BONAFIDE and Native are part of the same parent company, so it just made sense to take the technology of the first to reverse Native propel drive and put it into the BONAFIDE. Nice ample flat cockpit, even though you have to give up the space to put the pedal drive in there. Lots of really cool, well thought out staging areas for rods, staging areas for paddles. They also integrated the ability to attach your sidekick, which is your Native's way to transport the boat. You pull these pins, rotate these things down, just roll your kayak across the parking lot, or like we did here, just roll it back into the woods so that you can get into a place where nobody else is fishing. They stow and go, and then when you get ready to come off the water, you just pop them back down and roll it back to your truck. Plenty of room back here in the tank well. Now, one thing that was done on this boat, unlike a lot of the boats in the BONAFIDE line, is the time was taken to make a molded in rod holder. So if you literally want to grab 2 rods, a tackle box, your PFD, and a paddle, you can jump in this boat and you don't have to do anything to it, and you can take it fishing. In fact, I didn't put a lot of stuff on here. I'm still, this is a brand new boat. This is the first one out of the mold. I'm still kind of deciding where do I want to put things, and I highly recommend that you do the same thing. Don't start drilling holes and mounting stuff until you really know where you want it. But these flush mount rod holders are pretty cool because they also double any Yak Attack camera mount pole that has the foam in the bottom. You can just slide it down in there and it's nice and rigid. And it's easy to grab and pull it out if you want to use that for your underwater release. If you want to get a shot of your buddy lowering his fish into the water. So those molded in rod holders are actually a little bit more than rod holders. One thing that they came up with too that was pretty cool is right on top of your sidekick system, you have the ability to stage a rod and then just strap it down, so you've got horizontal storage. So let's say you're fishing a river, let's say you're paddling or pedaling under trees, you've got the ability to stage those rods off to the side. You can also stage camera poles there, you can stage your stakeout pole there, pretty much anything that you need that's long, and it actually runs outside of the arc of the pedals so it doesn't get in your way. Like I said, big cockpit. The cockpit is designed so that you can put the black pack in it long ways, but it also has inserts in it. So if you want to get it up out of the water and turn it, you can turn it broadside, and you can set it crossways as well. Again, a lot bigger cockpit than you have in the standard SS127. Coming on a little bit further back, you're going to have your same standard access like you do in the back of the SS127 that allows you to get to your steering mechanism for your rudder. You got your power pole set up in the back. Again, lots of volume back here in the stern. It's going to allow you to pedal this boat really well. But that volume in the stern and the ability to trim the seat forward and aft is going to give you the ability to power this boat really well, because you're going to get the angler weight or the CG forward to where that boat levels out and it planes really well with a motor like a Torpedo on it. So power pole in the back, power pole in the front, both power pole ready. Nothing you have to do other than screw them in. The boat actually comes with a blank off plate. So if you don't put the power pole there, you don't have to worry, but you could mount your anchor deploying system. You could put a gear track up there and mount a camera up front if you want to. So it's just a really well thought out, well laid out system. The seat is actually a lot wider because the boat is wider. It's a little bit easier to trim forward and aft. You don't have to loosen up the latches like you do in the SS127. You can make what I call micro adjustments. You can get the seat perfectly adjusted. I like to use a little bit of a cushion to kind of raise me up just a little bit more. But what's also cool about this is you can loosen those screws up and slide your seat back, which gives you more cockpit when you decide to get into stalk mode. When I'm in stalk mode, I actually like to take the pedal drive and pull these little pins right here. Allows me to, stage my rods like I would in any, standard pedal boat or paddle boat, and I can do it from the cockpit without getting out of the boat. When I get ready to start pedaling again, I simply pop these latches out, spin it back around. And for those of you guys that are not familiar with how the Native pedal drive system works, let me show you how easy it is. Basically, all you do is you take these bungees, pop this hatch off, line your blade up, drop it in, just like so. Put your hatch back on there, attach your bungee, and you are ready to pedal. So, guys, there it is. That is the full walkthrough, full overview of the new BONAFIDE P127. If you want to find out more about this boat, the price, the weight, the specs, the width, all of that good stuff, be sure to head over to BONAFIDEKAYAKS.com.